Commander Lisa Morgan floated in the darkness of space, watching pieces of her ship drift past her helmet, while her oxygen meter showed only 2 hours left to live. The pirate attack had come without warning, and their weapons tore through the human colony ship like paper, leaving hundreds dead in seconds. Lisa had been lucky enough to grab an emergency suit before the hull breach sucked her into the void. But now she was alone among the stars. Her radio was dead, and the nearest human outpost was 3 light-years away, which meant no rescue would come in time to save her. She closed her eyes and thought about her sister back on Earth, who would never know what happened to her out here in the endless black. Then something impossible appeared in her vision as a sleek silver ship materialized from nowhere, moving toward her with purpose. The vessel was unlike anything in the human fleet, with curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal and lights that pulsed with colors she had never seen. Lisa felt her body being pulled by an invisible force toward an opening that appeared in the shipside, and she was too weak to resist. Inside the airlock, she collapsed on the floor, gasping as artificial gravity and atmosphere returned to normal. Around her tired body, a door opened with a soft hiss, and Lisa looked up to see the most extraordinary being she had ever encountered in her life. The figure stood 7 feet tall, with skin that shimmered between purple and violet like a living galaxy, captured in humanoid form. 4 graceful arms extended from her torso, each moving independently as she approached Lisa, with movements that seemed to dance rather than walk. Her face was both alien and beautiful, with high cheekbones and large silver eyes that held more intelligence than any human Lisa had met. The being wore a flowing garment that seemed to be made of starlight itself, shifting and changing as she moved closer to the injured human. Lisa tried to speak, but her throat was dry from breathing recycled oxygen for hours, and only a weak croak came out. The alien woman knelt beside her, and when she spoke, her voice was like music in perfect English, which shocked Lisa completely. "Please do not be afraid, human. My name is Princess Zara of the Etherean Empire, and you are safe now on my vessel." Lisa managed to whisper, "How do you speak my language?" But the effort made her cough and taste blood in her mouth. Zara's upper arms reached for a medical device while her lower arms gently supported Lisa's head with surprising tenderness. "We have monitored your species for generations, learning your languages and customs, though my father forbids direct contact with humans." The princess ran a glowing scanner over Lisa's body and frowned at the readings, showing internal injuries from explosive decompression. "You are badly hurt, but I can heal you with our medicine, though it will feel strange as your body adjusts to the treatment." Lisa nodded weakly and watched as Zara produced a vial of swirling, golden liquid that seemed alive with tiny points of light. The alien princess helped her drink, and immediately Lisa felt warmth spreading through her chest, repairing damaged tissue and bones. As the pain faded, Lisa could finally focus on her rescuer, and noticed how Zara's expressions were so human despite her alien features. "Why did you save me?" Lisa asked when she could speak again. "If your people avoid humans, why risk helping me?" Zara stood and walked to a window showing the debris field of Lisa's destroyed ship floating in the distance like metal snowflakes. "My patrol ship detected your distress beacon, and I could not ignore it, knowing someone was dying alone in the darkness of space." She turned back to Lisa, and for the first time, the human noticed uncertainty in those silver eyes that seemed so confident before. "My father would be furious if he knew I had revealed myself to a human, but some rules are meant to be broken." Lisa slowly stood up, amazed that her injuries were already healed, and walked over to stand beside the tall alien woman. "Thank you, Princess Zara," she said formally. "But you can call me Lisa, since we are apparently breaking rules together now." The princess smiled, and it transformed her face into something so lovely that Lisa forgot to breathe for a moment. "Your ship is destroyed, and your people will think you are dead," Zara said softly. "What will you do now?" "Commander Lisa Morgan." Lisa looked at the wreckage of her old life floating outside and realized she had been given an unexpected second chance at existence. "I suppose I need time to figure that out," she replied. "But I have nowhere to go and no way to get there." Zara's forearms moved in what Lisa was beginning to recognize as a gesture of nervousness or perhaps excitement about something. "Then you will stay with me for now," she declared, as if making a royal decree that could not be questioned. Lisa felt something spark between them that had nothing to do with alien technology or the miracle of her rescue from death. The princess ship began to move away from the debris field, heading into uncharted space where no human had ever traveled before. Zara showed Lisa to quarters that were luxurious beyond anything on a human vessel, with furniture that adjusted to her shape automatically. The walls displayed images from Earth that Zara had collected over years of observation, including places Lisa recognized from her childhood. "You have been studying us for a long time," Lisa said, running her fingers over a perfect reproduction of an Earth sunset. Zara moved closer, and Lisa noticed she smelled like ozone and flowers combined in a way that should not work. "But did your species fascinates me," she admitted with honesty that seemed unusual for royalty who usually played political games with words. Lisa turned to face her rescuer and found those silver eyes watching her with an intensity that made her skin tingle with energy. "Well, Princess, I am happy to answer any questions you have about humans since you saved my life and gave me shelter." Zara smiled again, and this time Lisa saw a faint color change in her purple skin, like a blush spreading across her cheeks. "Please just call me Zara when we are alone, and I think we will have many interesting conversations during our journey together." 3 weeks had passed since Zara rescued Lisa from certain death, and their journey through uncharted space had become a routine of discovery and growing closeness between two unlikely companions. Lisa woke each morning in her quarters to find Zara had already prepared breakfast, using her vast knowledge of human nutrition to create meals that tasted better than anything on her old ship. The princess would sit across from her using 2 arms to eat, while the other 2 gestured animatedly, as she asked endless questions about human culture and emotions that her observation had not explained. Today Zara wanted to understand human music, and Lisa found herself trying to explain why certain songs made people cry, while others made them want to dance. The Etherian princess listened with complete focus as Lisa played recordings from Earth and watched her face change with each new emotion. The music brought, "Your people feel everything so deeply," Zara said with wonder in her voice, while, "My people suppress emotions as weakness, but I think we are wrong." Lisa reached across the table and touched one of Zara's hands, feeling the slight electric tingle that always came with physical contact between them. "Emotions are not weakness," she said, gently, "and I think you feel more than you admit even to yourself." "Princess Zara." The alien woman's skin shifted to that deeper purple shade Lisa had learned meant she was experiencing strong feelings. She did not fully understand. Zara stood abruptly and walked to the observation deck where stars streaked past as they traveled faster than light, using Etherian technology. Lisa followed and found the princess standing with all 4 arms wrapped around herself, as if providing comfort she would not ask for. "My father has sent messages demanding I return immediately," Zara said quietly, and explained why I have been gone so long without reporting. The human woman felt her heart sink at the thought of their time together ending and being left alone in alien space. "Will you go back?" Lisa asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the fear of losing the only person she had in this vast universe. Zara turned, and those silver eyes held a determination that reminded Lisa this gentle being was still royalty trained to rule an empire. "Not yet," she said firmly, "but I cannot avoid him forever, and when I return he will discover I saved a human." Lisa moved closer, drawn by an attraction she had been trying to ignore since it seemed impossible. "Between different species. What will happen to you if he finds out you broke their laws about contact with humans and helped me survive?" The princess looked away, and her lower arms fidgeted with the fabric of her dress while her upper arms remained perfectly still. "Best case, he will exile me from the empire, and worst case, he will have my memories of you erased completely." The thought of Zara forgetting her made Lisa angry in a way that surprised her with its intensity and protective nature. "Then, we do not go back," she declared, as if it was that simple to deny an alien emperor. "His daughter." Zara laughed, and it sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, making Lisa smile. "Despite the serious situation they faced, you would fight the entire Etherian empire for me. Little human with no ship and no weapons to your name." Lisa stepped even closer until she had to look up to meet those silver eyes that had become so precious to her. "I would fight the entire universe if it meant keeping you Save Zara because you saved me in more ways than just rescuing me from space. The princess reached out with all four arms, pulling Lisa into an embrace that felt like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. They stayed that way for minutes, just holding each other while stars continued their endless dance outside the observation windows. When they finally separated, Zara's skin was glowing slightly with an inner light Lisa had never seen before in their weeks together. "There is something I should tell you about Etherian biology," she said shyly, which was adorable on someone so tall and powerful. Lisa waited patiently, having learned that Zara needed time to explain things that were difficult for her to put into words. "When we bond with someone, our bodies produce a bioluminescent response that cannot be hidden or controlled by our will." The human woman looked at the soft glow emanating from Zara's skin and understood what the princess was trying to say. "You are glowing because of me?" Lisa asked, though it was more statement than question at this point. Between them, Zara nodded, and her glow intensified as if responding to Lisa's recognition of what was happening to her alien body. "My people would say it is just biological response to compatible genetics, but I think your word love is more accurate." Lisa felt tears in her eyes as she processed that this amazing being from another world was literally glowing with love for her. Without thinking, she stood on her toes and pulled Zara down with gentle pressure until their faces were close enough to share breath. "Hey, sweetie," she whispered, using the endearment that felt right, even though they were from different worlds entirely. The alien princess blushed, purple skin darkening, as she replied, "Yes, darling," in a voice full of emotion she no longer tried to hide. They kissed then, and it was electric and strange and perfect all at once, as two species never meant to meet found each other when they pulled apart. Both were breathing hard, and Zara's glow had become bright enough to light the entire observation deck. "I do not care what my father says or what the Empire demands," Zara declared with royal authority ringing in her voice. Lisa smiled and took two of Zara's hands in hers, while the princess' other arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her close. "Then we make our own path through the stars together, and let the universe adjust to us, instead of the other way around." Zara laughed again and spun Lisa around in a circle, using her superior strength to lift the human easily off her feet. The ship computer interrupted their moment with an alert that they were approaching the border of Etherian space where patrols would detect them. Zara set Lisa down gently and moved to the controls, her forearms working in perfect coordination to adjust their course. "We need to go somewhere neither your people nor mine have influence," she said while plotting a path through neutral territory. Lisa stood beside her, watching the star charts change and feeling no fear about the unknown future they were heading toward. "As long as we are together, I do not care where we go or what challenges we face, because you are my home now." The princess stopped working and looked at Lisa with such tenderness that the human woman felt her heart might burst from happiness. "And you are mine," Zara said simply before returning to the controls to take them toward a future neither could have imagined. The neutral planet called Haven appeared on their screens like a jewel of blue and green, floating in space between three small moons that orbited lazily around it. Zara had spent days researching safe places where they could land without drawing attention from either human or Etherian authorities who might be searching for them. Haven was populated by dozens of different species who had come here seeking freedom from their own worlds and the strict laws that governed interspecies contact. Lisa watched nervously as Zara communicated with the orbital station in a language she did not recognize, but that sounded like singing, mixed with mathematical equations. The princess turned to her with a reassuring smile and translated that they had been granted landing permission and assigned quarters in the mixed district. As their ship descended through clouds that sparkled with rainbow colors, Lisa saw cities that looked like nothing on Earth or any human colony. Buildings grew from the ground like living trees, while others floated suspended by technology she could not begin to understand or explain. Zara landed in a port where ships of every design imaginable were docked, and beings of all shapes and sizes moved about their business. Princess changed into simpler clothing that would not mark her as royalty, though she could not hide her natural grace and beauty. Lisa put on clothes Zara had fabricated for her that would help her blend in with the human population that had settled here. They walked down the ramp together, and Lisa's first breath of haven air tasted sweet and clean with a hint of something floral. A small furry being approached them, chattering rapidly in what sounded like squeaks and whistles while waving multiple tentacles in greeting. Zara responded in the same language, then turned to Lisa and explained this was their assigned guide to help them get settled. The guide, whose name was apparently something like Pip, though Lisa's tongue could not make the proper sounds, led them through the port. Everywhere Lisa looked, she saw impossible combinations of species walking together, talking, and even holding hands or whatever appendages they had. A human man walked past with a crystalline being that chimed like bells, and they were clearly a couple based on their intimate body language. Two reptilian creatures were arguing with a gaseous cloud that somehow had a translation device attached to its swirling form. Children of various species played together in a park, completely unconcerned that their playmates had different numbers of limbs or eyes. Pip led them to a building that seemed to be grown, rather than built, with walls that curved organically and windows that adjusted their transparency automatically. Their apartment was on the 10th floor with a view of the city center, where a massive tree grew that Pip explained was the heart of Haven. Inside, the space was already furnished with items that would accommodate both human and Etherian needs, including chairs with adjustable configurations. Zara immediately began exploring, using all four arms to test surfaces and examine the technology, while Lisa stood at the window in amazement. "I never imagined a place like this could exist," she said as Zara came to stand beside her, looking out at the impossible city. "Haven was founded 300 years ago by couples like us," Zara explained, "who needed somewhere they could exist without judgment." Lisa turned to look at her and asked, "Do you mean there are other human and Etherian couples here on this planet?" The princess shook her head, and her expression was thoughtful as she considered how to explain the uniqueness of their situation. "No. We are the first of our specific combination, but there are thousands of other mixed species relationships here living freely." Pip interrupted with information about registration and work permits that they would need to stay on Haven permanently if they chose. Zara handled the bureaucracy with ease, while Lisa explored their new home, finding touches that showed someone had prepared it specifically for them. The kitchen had human cooking equipment and food synthesizers, while another area had Etherian meditation crystals and energy absorption panels. The bedroom made Lisa blush as she realized it had been designed to accommodate their physical differences, with creative solutions she had not considered. When Zara finished with Pip and the guide left them alone, they stood together in their new home, both processing the reality of their choice. "We really did it," Lisa said with wonder as she walked through rooms that would be theirs to share and make into something special. Zara moved behind her and wrapped all four arms around Lisa in an embrace that had become familiar and necessary to both of them. "Are you happy?" the princess asked with vulnerability in her voice that she only showed when they were completely alone together. Lisa turned in her arms and reached up to touch Zara's face, feeling the slight electric charge that always passed between their different physiologies. "Happier than I have ever been in my entire life," she answered honestly, "and I would choose this again, every single time." They spent their first night on Haven, just talking and planning what their life could be in this place that accepted them. Zara wanted to use her knowledge of advanced medicine to help at the local clinic that served all species regardless of ability to pay. Lisa thought she could find work as a pilot, since Haven needed people to fly supply runs between settlements on the planet. They cooked dinner together with Lisa, teaching Zara how to make pasta from scratch, even though the princess did not need to eat. The alien woman had developed a love for human food just from the joy of sharing meals with Lisa and experiencing new flavors. As they ate on their balcony, watching 3 moons rise over the city, Zara told stories of her childhood in the floating palaces of the Etherian Empire. Lisa shared memories of growing up on Earth in a small town where the biggest excitement was the annual harvest festival. They were from different worlds in every possible way, but somehow they fit together like puzzle pieces that had been searching for each other. Later, as they prepared for bed, Zara's glow returned stronger than before, filling their room with soft purple light. "It happens when I am completely content," she explained shyly, as if embarrassed by her body's automatic response to happiness. Lisa pulled her close and whispered that she loved the way Zara glowed because it was honest in a way words could never be. They fell asleep intertwined with Lisa, head on. Zara shouldered while 4 arms held her safe from any harm that might come. Outside, their window haven continued its impossible existence as a place where love transcended species and biology, and cultural differences. Ships arrived and departed, carrying more refugees from rigid worlds, and they all found welcome in this city of acceptance and hope. Somewhere in the government district, their registration was processed, marking them as the first human Etherian couple in Haven historical records. But Lisa and Zara did not know that yet and would not learn it until much later, when their story had already inspired others. For now, they simply held each other in the darkness that was not really dark, because of Zara, contented glow surrounding them. Tomorrow would bring new challenges as they built a life together, but tonight, they were safe and together, and that was everything. 6 months had passed since Lisa and Zara arrived on Haven, and their life had settled into a rhythm that felt both extraordinary and wonderfully ordinary. Lisa had found work as a pilot for the Haven Transport Service, flying medical supplies to remote settlements across the planet, diverse ecosystems. Her supervisor was a silicon-based life form named Crix, who communicated through color changes but had learned to use a translation device for other species. Every morning, Zara would pack Lisa lunch with handwritten notes in Etherian script that Lisa was slowly learning to read with patient teaching. The princess had become beloved at the medical clinic, where her advanced knowledge helped species that most doctors had never even encountered today. Was special because it marked exactly 1 Earth year since Zara had rescued Lisa from the void of space after the pirate attack. They had planned a quiet dinner at home, but the universe had other plans as Zara communication device activated with an Imperial seal. The hologram that appeared was of an older Etherian male with the same silver eyes as Zara, but holding an authority that filled the room. Daughter, the Emperor said in a voice that carried disappointment and something else that might have been concern or curiosity. Father, Zara replied formally while Lisa stood frozen, unsure if she should leave or stay for this unexpected family reunion. I know about the human, the Emperor continued, causing Lisa's heart to race with fear about what this meant for them. Zara moved protectively closer to Lisa, and her skin began glowing with defensive energy that made the air crackle with power. Her name is Lisa Morgan, and she is my chosen partner, Zara said with a strength that reminded everyone she was born to rule. The Emperor's expression shifted, and Lisa was surprised to see what looked like amusement cross his alien features unexpectedly. You always were the brave one, my daughter, taking after your mother, who also defied tradition to marry me against protocol, Zara gasped, and her glow shifted from defensive to confused as she processed this unexpected revelation about her parents. You mean mother was not Etherian nobility, but from another caste entirely, and you kept this secret from everyone, including me? The Emperor nodded, and his form flickered, showing the vast distance the communication was crossing to reach them on Haven. She was a commoner with no title, but she had a spirit that could not be contained by our rigid society. Rules. Lisa found her voice and stepped forward despite every instinct telling her to remain silent before alien royalty. Your Majesty, she said respectfully, I love your daughter and would protect her with my life if necessary. The Emperor looked at her for a long moment, and Lisa felt like she was being examined down to her molecular structure. I have been monitoring your life on Haven through our intelligence network, and I see how you care for her daily. Zara's forearms were trembling with emotion as she asked, Father, are you giving us your blessing to stay together? Not exactly, the Emperor said, but I am offering you a choice that has never been given before in our history. He explained that the Etherian Empire was changing, and younger generations were pushing for reform of the ancient isolation laws. If Zara returned with Lisa, they could be the first official interspecies couple recognized by the Empire and help lead these changes, or they could remain on Haven and live quietly without any connection to Zara birthright and imperial family. Lisa immediately said Zara should go home and claim her place as princess, but the alien woman shook her head firmly. This is my home now, she said, taking Lisa's hand while addressing her father with determination that brooked no argument. The Emperor sighed, and Lisa realized that even alien parents struggled with letting their children choose their own paths. Then I have one request, he said, and I ask that you at least consider it before refusing outright. He wanted them to serve as unofficial ambassadors on Haven, helping other mixed couples navigate the challenges they would face. In exchange, the Empire would provide resources and protection, without requiring Zara to return to court life. Zara looked at Lisa, who nodded because this felt like something they could do while still maintaining their freedom. "We accept," Lisa said, surprising herself by speaking for both of them. But feeling Zara squeeze her hand in agreement, the Emperor smiled. Then, and it transformed his face, making him look more like the father Zara had described. "There is one more thing," he said, and his tone became lighter, almost teasing in a way that surprised them. "Your mother insists on visiting to meet the human who has captured our daughter heart, and she will not be denied." Zara groaned, and all four arms gestured in exasperation while Lisa tried not to laugh at the universal nature of meeting parents. When the communication ended, they stood together in their apartment processing everything that had just happened in minutes. "Your father is not what I expected," Lisa admitted, thinking of the stern emperor she had imagined. Zara smiled and pulled Lisa onto the couch where they could curl up together in their usual configuration. "He was different before Mother died, but her loss made him harder until you reminded him that love is worth any risk." They talked late into the night about what being ambassadors would mean and how they could help other couples. Lisa shared her idea for a support center where mixed-species couples could find resources and community. Zara suggested adding medical services specifically for addressing the biological challenges of interspecies relationships. By morning, they had outlined a complete proposal that would transform a section of Haven into a sanctuary for love. 3 days later, a package arrived from the Etherean Empire containing official diplomatic credentials and a personal note. The note was from Zara, mother, written before her death to be delivered if her daughter ever fell in love. Lisa watched Zara read it with tears streaming down her purple cheeks and creating small rainbows where they caught the light. "What did she say?" Lisa asked gently when Zara finally looked up from the message that had traveled across space and time. "She said that love is the only force in the universe stronger than gravity or time, and to never let fear steal it." They kissed then with a passion that had grown stronger over months of building a life together on this impossible planet. When they pulled apart, Zara was glowing so brightly that their neighbors would later ask if they had installed new lighting. That evening they walked through Haven Marketplace hand in hand, drawing smiles from beings who recognized them as the famous couple. A young human woman approached nervously with a tall insectoid being beside her and asked if they could talk. Lisa and Zara spent an hour listening to their story and offering advice about navigating family rejection and cultural differences. As they walked home, Zara said, "I think we found our purpose here, helping others find what we have together." Lisa stopped and pulled the princess down for a kiss that made passing beings politely look away with various forms of smiles. "You are my purpose," she said. "Everything else is just what we do while being together in this vast universe." 5 years had transformed Haven from a simple refuge into the galaxy center for interspecies unity, with Lisa and Zara at the heart of the movement. Their support center had grown from a small office into a complex spanning 3 city blocks with services no one had imagined possible. Lisa stood on the balcony of their new home, which was attached to the center, and watched the sunrise paint the sky in impossible colors. Zara emerged with her morning tea using her lower arms while her upper arms wrapped around Lisa from behind in practiced intimacy. "Today is the day," Zara whispered, and Lisa could feel the nervous energy radiating from her partner. Electric Skin, the first human-Etherean treaty, would be signed today with representatives from both governments coming to Haven for the ceremony. Lisa turned in Zara's arms and saw the same princess who had saved her now, wearing the confidence of someone who had found their purpose. They had spent years building bridges between species that had never imagined coexistence was possible or even desirable. The communication device chimed and Amy appeared on screen as she was Lisa's new assistant and a human who had married a sentient plant being, Ambassador Morgan and Ambassador Zara. "The delegates are arriving and requesting your presence in the main hall immediately." They dressed in formal attire that combined human and Etherean designs, creating something entirely new and uniquely theirs. Walking through the center, they passed the medical wing where Dr. Kella, a gaseous being, worked alongside human nurses. The nursery was filled with children of various species playing while their mixed parents attended counseling sessions. In the legal department, lawyers from 12 different worlds worked to create new frameworks for interspecies. Writes Lisa remembered when it was just them in a small apartment, wondering if they would have to hide forever. Now they stood before representatives of two civilizations that had changed their laws because of their love story. Admiral Kate Harrison represented Earth, and she had been Lisa, commanding officer before the pirate attack changed everything. "Seeing you alive was shock enough," Kate said warmly. "But seeing what you have built here is beyond imagination." Prince Zex represented the Etherean Empire as Zara's younger brother, who had supported them from the beginning of their journey. "Sister," he said formally before breaking protocol to embrace her with his 4 arms showing emotion. Publicly, the treaty signing was broadcast across multiple star systems, and Lisa could see reporters from species she still could not name. Zara spoke first, explaining how fear had kept civilizations apart, but love had proven stronger than ancient prejudices. Lisa followed with stories of the thousands of couples who had found sanctuary and support through their work on Haven. When time came to sign, Zara's hand trembled slightly, and Lisa quietly took it to steady her nerves. The documents were signed with flourishes of ink and energy, making the alliance official and historical simultaneously. Afterwards, at the reception, Lisa mingled with delegates, while keeping one eye on Zara, who was surrounded by Etherean nobles. A young human man approached, with his partner, a being made of living crystal that sang instead of speaking. "You saved my life," he said emotionally, explaining they had been ready to give up before finding the center stories. Like this had become common, but they never stopped affecting Lisa, who remembered her own desperation floating in space. Zara appeared at her side, glowing softly, with the contentment that had become her default state over the years. The Emperor approached them together, and Lisa still felt nervous around her. "Father-in-law, despite his acceptance, you have exceeded every expectation," he said formally, before his expression softened into something more paternal. "Your mother would have loved this," he told Zara, "and she would have adored your fierce little human." Lisa blushed at being called little and fierce, but Zara just laughed and pulled her closer with 2 arms. That night, after all the delegates had gone, they stood in their garden, which Zara had filled with plants from both worlds. Music drifted from the center, where a celebration continued for all the couples who could now love openly. "Hey, sweetie," Lisa said, using the phrase that had become their private tradition over years of mornings and evenings. "Yes, darling," Zara replied automatically before, laughing at how natural the exchange had become between them. They danced slowly under 3 moons, with Zara using her extra arms to dip and spin. Lisa effortlessly. Other couples walked past their garden and waved, knowing the 2 ambassadors needed this moment of privacy together. Tomorrow would bring new challenges as more species reached out, wanting to establish their own sanctuaries like Haven. But tonight was theirs to celebrate how far they had come from a dying human floating in space. Lisa thought about the attacking pirates who had destroyed her ship and inadvertently given her this extraordinary life. She thought about Zara defying her father and an empire to save one insignificant human from certain death. The path that had brought them together seemed impossible, yet here they were, changing the galaxy through love. Zara must have sensed her thoughts, because she stopped dancing and held Lisa's face gently between 2 hands. "No regrets?" she asked, though she knew the answer after 5 years of waking up together each day. "Never," Lisa replied, and kissed her while Zara's other arms pulled her impossibly closer in the moonlight. Inside the center, a new couple was arriving, scared and uncertain about their forbidden love across species. They would find welcome and support and proof that love could transcend any boundary the universe created. The garden was filled with bioluminescent flowers that Zara had engineered to respond to emotional energy around them. As Lisa and Zara embraced, the entire garden lit up in waves of color that reflected their deep contentment. A photographer from the Galactic News Network captured the moment, though neither woman noticed or would have cared. The image would become iconic and inspire countless beings to believe in possibilities they had never imagined. Years from now, historians would mark this treaty as the beginning of a new era of interstellar cooperation. But for Lisa and Zara, it was simply another evening in their impossible beautiful Life together on Haven. They went inside and prepared for bed in the routine they had perfected over years of practice. Zara set her 4 alarms because Lisa was terrible at waking up, while Lisa made sure the doors were locked. In bed they talked about the future and the expansion plans for the center that would help even more couples. Lisa fell asleep first as always, while Zara stayed awake a bit longer just watching her sleep peacefully. The princess, who had given up an empire for love, glowed softly in the darkness, feeling completely at home. Tomorrow they would continue changing the galaxy, but tonight they were simply Lisa and Zara choosing each other again. The end of their story was really just the beginning of something larger that would outlive them both by centuries. Love had found a way across species in space and time, proving that humanity's greatest gift was its heart.